Hello, I'm Phil Ernest, and I'm in Corona, California to hike to the Doppler Ball. To find the trailhead, exit Green River Road off the 91 freeway and go east, or exit off of Foothill Parkway off the 15 freeway and go west. Or simply enter Skyline Drive Trail on your GPS. Parking is only available on the street and only on one side of the street. There is a sign that clearly marks where the trailhead starts. One more point worth mentioning about the parking. On occasion, there have been reports of cars that have been broken into. Please, if you have valuables, put them away out of plain sight to make yourself less of a target. For about the first half a mile of this hike, you'll be walking on asphalt until you hit the fire road and the rest of the hills. Notice the block wall on my right-hand side. Beyond the wall are houses. The residents of these houses ask that you please be respectful of their privacy and keep the noise level down to a minimum. This is the Skinsuit Trail. If you plan on doing this hike, I highly advise bringing hiking poles because parts of the trail are steep. As for the hike I'm doing today, to the Doppler Ball, there are two ways to get there. One, you can take the fire road, which is on the left-hand side, which has a slower, gradual gain, or you can go straight up this mountain, which I will be doing for this hike. Hiking poles are advisable if you plan to do this trail. Now that I've gained a little bit of altitude, you can see Skinsuit from a distance, and notice why I said you're going to need hiking poles if you choose to hike that route. This is the first time this trail has been open in close to 2 months since it was closed for the pandemic. Notice how in this short period of time, the trail is already being overgrown and covered up. This is a view from above looking down at the fire road. Notice its gradual gain that it has. I know I've talked a little bit about the usage of hiking poles. It's at this time I'd like to show you the proper way to go up a mountain with them and how to come down with them. Notice as I'm going up this steeper grade, I'm thrusting down with my arms in an inward motion as I use them to help myself propel up the mountainside. Now, coming down, taking careful steps, keeping the feet at shoulder length apart, not getting them too close, and using the poles all the while like an extra set of legs, making sure I keep my balance. Keep in mind, the poles are just as important going down the mountain as they are going up the mountain, helping you propel yourself up to get over the mountain safely. If you like this type of content and would like to see more of it, please be sure to hit the subscribe button to help my channel grow. And please feel free to hit the like button as well. Another view from above looking down at the fire road. The fire road trail is listed as a moderate hike. The trail that I'm doing today is listed as difficult. One of the things I want to talk about at this point are the bike riders, the mountain bike riders who come down the mountains in great speed. Since the pandemic, a lot of people went out and bought bikes. Not all of them are aware of the rules to give the hikers the right of way. So please keep your head on a swivel and be cautious of these bicyclists racing down the mountain. As you may have noticed, there's not a lot of shade on the trail, so please bring your sunglasses, hat, sunscreen, and water. You'll be thankful you did. Whichever hike you choose to do, the moderate trail or the difficult trail, they're both considered conditioning hikes, which simply means getting your legs in shape and ready for the tougher hikes at altitude like Mount Baldy, San Jacinto, or San Gorgonio. The Skyline Drive Trail is in the Cleveland National Forest. It is the southernmost national forest in California. Consisting of 460,000 acres, the forest offers a wide variety of terrains and recreational opportunities. You are looking at a view of the Inland Empire in the Riverside County. For the hike on this day, it is a beautiful clear day in May, temperature in the low 80s. Weather-wise, this trail is best hiked anywhere from October to April. Anytime after that, you run the risk of it getting hotter and hotter as the summer months approach. You are looking at the antennas of the old defunct KART radio station. At this part of the hike, if you were only hiking the fire road, you will have traveled 4.5 miles from the trailhead. Since I'm hiking on the hiking trail, the distance I've covered is a little bit less. The Doppler Ball now comes into view as I'm getting closer to my final destination. Since I've been going pretty hard on the hiking trail for a little more than 2 hours, I'm going to take a well-deserved break. The mountain region I'm looking at is in the next county over. This is Orange County, adjacent to Riverside County, the county I'm currently hiking in. Among those mountains, there's a whole lot more hiking trails to explore. Throughout the hike, you may have noticed this particular plant. This is the Yucca plant in full bloom. It blooms in springtime, and right now it's at full bloom. As I get closer to the Doppler Ball, there's one more thing I want to explore before I get there, and that would be Bleeks Place. While many people talk about the Doppler Ball, perhaps the true gem up in this area is Bleeks Place, 2 old abandoned cabins that were built in the 1930s by Joe Bleek, founder and owner of the ferry boat service in Balboa. In 1920, Joe Bleek came up with the idea to start a ferry boat service that would get cars across the bay to Balboa Island. The cabin that I'm going to look at first was the cabin where the caretaker stayed. This is the smaller one in the back, taking a view from the inside of how small it actually is. Next up, I will now go to look at the main quarters where Joe Bleek and his wife stayed. And this is the bigger, spacier main cabin. Although both cabins were only 1 room each, you can see that this one was noticeably bigger. The family only used this on the weekends. Sometimes the caretaker would live up here for a period of months to look over the property. All of the trees were planted by the Bleek family. Due to constant vandalism and theft, when the caretaker wasn't present, it eventually became impossible to maintain, and thus the Bleeks moved on, as I move on toward the Doppler Ball. At this time, I would like to talk a little bit about what the Doppler Ball is and how it works. A Doppler radar receiver hears waves of a higher frequency if precipitation particles are moving toward the radar, and a lower frequency if particles are moving away. This is how the Doppler radar identifies severe weather. One last thing, the advantage of the Doppler radar over the conventional radar is the Doppler radar is capable to detect air motions within a storm that are dangerous to aircrafts. So that is how your local weatherman is able to predict the weather within the next 5 or 10 days by using the Doppler weather radar. My final stats for this hike were 8.85 miles traveled up and back with a gain of 2,290 feet. The hike was completed in 3 hours and 57 minutes. Your time may vary depending on the number of breaks you take and the trail you choose. I will now take a walk toward the ball so you can see just how big it is. On my hike back, I came upon this American flag. Tattered and torn, but blowing in the wind, it seemed like a microcosm of what we've all gone through the last couple of months with the pandemic. But somehow, just like the flag, we managed to remain upright. Thank you for watching.